Hey y'all, so May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I really wanted to review 3 conversations that I had with some really dope therapists previously on the show. You will hear conversations about the importance of emotional wellness, healing, and anxiety during the pandemic. Now, at the time when some of these episodes were recorded, we were in a different season of our life, and maybe it made sense then, but I feel like over the year, the last year that we've actually had, that some of these conversations are even more important now. And so I hope that there is something that you'll be able to gain from this. I hope that there is something in this conversation that resonates with you. If you feel like you are in a place where you do need some support from a therapist or a counselor, if you go to my website, www.feliciawallace.com, there's a resource tab that has a few of these ladies' practices because they're in the DMV area, but also there's links for you to be able to search a therapist within your area. Y'all know that I am an advocate for therapy, and so I will tell you, therapy and Jesus, they both work. So if you feel like that's something that you need, definitely go to the page and go ahead and get connected with somebody. I'd also like to hear whether or not you want these ladies back on the show, and maybe we can have a completely different conversation. There's a form in the bio where you can click and make a topic suggestion for the show. But until then, y'all go ahead and listen to this episode. You're listening to the Slaying Self-Doubt podcast, where we empower women of faith to identify, acknowledge, and accept their doubts and limits and beliefs in order to give birth to their God-given purpose. Join me and sometimes some of my friends on our journey as we remind you that you are not alone. I'm Felicia Wallace, and together we will find our fears and slay them. Hey y'all, today I have the pleasure of chatting with Kierrah Flipping, the founder and CEO of Core Empowerment. Kierrah has been in the mental health field for over 8 years. She has been helping clients get unstuck and uncover the root cause of their mental and physical illness and gain balance and clarity in their life. Kierrah is a big advocate for mental health and has created a YouTube channel for Core Empowerment, which brings awareness to mental health and breaks the stigma. Kierrah has been featured on the Perfected Practice Tele Summit and was a panelist for Black Girl Balance. She joins us today to talk about the importance of our emotional wellness, signs of depression, and the burden of being the strong friend. Hey, Kierrah, thanks for joining us this evening.
Hello, hello.
So I'm glad that I'm able to bring you on because as we're wrapping up October's podcast, this month I talked a lot about like health and like people's emotional wellness. We talked about, it being okay to be sad. We also talked about, last week I really talked about, for me, was about stop crying like a girl because I have boys, and it's one of those things that it gets underneath my skin so bad when people say that, because I'm still like, what do that sound like? But anyway, so I really wanted to wrap it up to be able to talk to somebody who is in the profession, who sees it every single day, who studies it, knows it, to be able to give us some like practical tips to be able to figure out how to help either ourselves or our friends. So I just have a couple of questions for you.
Absolutely.
So the first question I have is, what led you to being a mental health professional?
So for me, it started really just with my family, with my community, just really seeing mental health symptoms around me pretty much all day, every day. And at a young age, not really being able to um, describe what it was that I was seeing or give it a name. Um, I didn't know what it was. So as I was able to, go through school and things like that, I took a class, and this is when the interest really started in high school. I took a class in AP psychology, and I found myself in that class connecting a lot of dots. It's like, oh, that's why so and so is like that, or
Right.
that's what that looks like. That's what that is. That's what that feeling is that maybe I've even experienced. Okay, so that has a name.
Right.
So it was really in that class in AP psychology in high school that really sparked the interest to mental health and what that means and what it looks like. I've always had a natural connection to just being a healer and just a helper and wanting to help people naturally. When I was younger, I always thought I would be a nurse.
Oh,
I
yeah.
always wanted to help people in some way.
Well, you are. This is
Yeah,
definitely you are you, and you still are a nurse. Well, you're nursing people's souls, right? Which is,
absolutely. That's a good way to put it.
yeah, in this
Absolutely.
day and time, it's very, very, very important for us to be able to have somebody who does that, because I think that now more than ever, which is kind of why I started this podcast, is
Mhm.
kind of the same things, like realizing that I got some stuff with me that,
Mhm. Mhm.
there's lots of people who have the same things. It starts out as like, anxiety or doubt or
Mhm.
insecurities. And we look at those as like small things, but the bigger things are the underlying things that people don't really do the work to be able to figure out, like, okay, why am I sad? Why am I
Mhm.
still sad? Why am I,
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like that, this podcast has touched a lot of people, and a lot of people have, reached out to me to let me know that they like hearing it. So I'm always thinking
Mhm.
about like ways to be able to let people know, like, it's okay to be in the place that you are, but you can't stay there. If you want to be better,
Absolutely.
you have to do the work. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
one of my things is about, like, I always say, like, choose you, like,
Uh-huh.
depending on how people word it, but really about choosing you, what's best for you. If that means saying no, if that means
Mhm.
sleeping, resting,
Mhm.
taking time off, how why is emotional wellness important? Like, why is it important for us to be, same way people go to the gym, same way people
Absolutely.
eat organic food and
Uh-huh.
organic
Uh-huh.
milk? Why is emotional wellness important?
And you made a good point about choosing you. And that's something I talk to my clients about a lot, is not being ashamed to be selfish. Just
Hmm.
like the word selfish has like this negative cloud
Yes,
around
it
it.
does. It
And it's
does.
really honestly not even that bad. Like if I don't take care of myself, I can't serve you. I can't show
Right.
up for you.
Absolutely.
Um, and my dad, he gave me this perfect theory, and I share it with all of my clients, is sometimes we hear that cliche that about filling your cup, right?
Right.
Making
Yep.
sure, I can't serve nobody else unless my cup is full. But he made the point as nobody should be drinking from your cup. Your cup should
Mm.
always be full.
Wow. That
It's
is
the tea that
wow.
runs off the cup
Yeah, you should
onto
be
the saucer. So you
exactly.
never want to serve anybody from your cup. Your
Yeah.
cup is full for you. Your
So everybody should be
overflow,
getting your overflow.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
therefore your cup will never run dry.
That is
You
that. And
know?
you know how many of us are like, we only got like
That's
the
it.
bottom feel like even a quarter. Like,
And we'll give that drop to somebody else
yeah.
before taking a sip for ourselves.
Even when you know that you shouldn't, even when you know that you don't have it in you, we still try
We still.
to do that. And I know I feel like that the perspective here is generally always about women. And
Mhm.
that's just because, I'm a woman, so it's easier
Uh-huh.
for
Uh-huh.
me. But I always feel like that women have the hardest times about to like be selfless, like, especially if they're moms and wives. Like,
Mhm.
you're committed to so many things that is difficult for us to, like, I don't know, it's like we feel guilty for taking
Mhm.
care of us. So what do
Mhm.
you say to the moms that feel guilty about saying, no, I'm not making dinner tonight?
Yeah, yeah, and it goes kind of back to that cup thing, of how can you show up for your family? How can you show up for your kids if you're not well?
Right.
If mommy isn't well, if mommy is beat up and tore down, then the family, we none of us win.
Right. And I think that
Um,
goes along also with when you're on the airplane and they tell you, like, put your mask on first.
yep,
That,
you
I
have
mean,
to.
if you can't help your kids if you can't breathe.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
I think sometimes we don't really look at it that way. We look at it
Mhm.
as like, I got to keep going, I got to keep moving, I got to do it.
Yeah.
Never realizing that we're killing ourselves in the process, because that's
Mhm.
just added stress sometimes
Yeah.
unnecessarily, when all it takes is for you to just ask for help. or
Extra
ask
help.
for, some type of assistance.
And I
Um,
wonder how much of that has to maybe also do with control. And I'm just speaking
mm,
from personal,
child,
if I
you
say
you
no,
is speaking to the choir.
if I don't do it, then who will?
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
I don't do the laundry, you may not wash it how I like the laundry
Right.
washed. Or
Right.
if I take a mommy break and go get my nails done, what's the house gonna look like when I get back? So it
Exactly.
might be a little bit of that control, as well, but we gotta be able to let that go, you
And
know.
that is a great point, because I definitely I've gotten a whole lot better, but when my
Mhm.
kids were smaller, it definitely was like, I'll do it, I'll do it, I'll
Yep.
do it.
Yep.
And then I would be mad at my husband because I'd be like, you see me running around here? He's
Uh-huh.
like, but you didn't ask me anything. And then I'm crying in the
Mhm.
bathroom, just so sad, like no one wants to help me, but I'm not asking for help.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what are ways that you suggest to be able to, like, self-care? Because I think that a lot of times people think self-care is like, I don't know,
Jamaica.
so yeah, like something extravagant. And I'd be like, with the way my funds set up, I
Uh-huh.
will never self-care.
Uh-huh. I always recommend people schedule it. Just like you would schedule a doctor's
Mm,
appointment, a dentist appointment, a lunch date with a friend. You put that on your calendar. Schedule time for yourself. And I always encourage my clients that you should be self-caring every day.
oh
Every day
wow.
you should do something for yourself.
Now
Even if that
how do you
means,
propose that one does that?
so this is what I have clients do. I love all of my clients to have a planner of some sort, and I prefer the planners with the time slots. Go ahead and
Okay.
book out work, book out dropping off the kids, book out picking the kids up, the stuff that kind of has to be done. And wherever you see gaps, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, wherever you see gaps, pencil yourself in. That
Mm,
can mean, okay, I only got 10 minutes. I pull up from work to my kids' school. It's a 10-minute gap between school let out and I'm here. Sit in your car and read a book.
wow.
Put
Okay.
on a podcast, or the kids are asleep. Instead of just running through the shower real quick, why don't you run you some bath water?
Wow.
Soak in the
Yeah.
tub. That's perfect self-care. You gotta wait for the tub to fill up. You gotta
Right.
get in it. You gotta soak in it. Like that's self-care. That's intention,
Yeah.
behind it. Get up a few moments early in the morning instead of just alarm go off and you rush, 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 rush,
Russian.
rush.
Yeah.
Give yourself 10 minutes to meditate or make a cup of coffee or just sit with yourself. Like you should all every day you should be taking care of yourself. Every day you're taking care of somebody else, whether it's your
Yeah.
family, whether it's your
Yeah.
job duties. Why not take care of yourself every day?
And I think one of the things that you said that was very important is about intentionality. Like, I think
Mm-hmm.
that we're intentional about doing stuff for everybody else except for ourselves. And
Absolutely.
even when we realize, because even when you said it, like, oh, you got that little bit of time between the time you pick your kids up and they get out. Like, I get to my son gets out at 3:10. I get to his school at like, I don't know, it's a car line. So usually like by
Mm-hmm.
2:45 or whatever. So that's 2:45 to 3:10 is a substantial amount of time. You're right. I listen to a podcast. I may be
Mm-hmm.
listening to music, but in my mind, I never think of that as self-care. I've never
Absolutely.
like, I don't think of it like that. I think of that as like killing time, right? Or like
Mm.
passing up. What am I doing in between?
Mm-hmm.
But my
Mm-hmm.
mind is still like, like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. But I think if we're intentional about thinking about even in that space that
Yep.
this is my time, let me do something for me, you
Mm-hmm.
realize you have more time than you think in a
Absolutely.
day. So
Absolutely. And
I
even if you're journaling, you can bring your journal with you in your purse. And while you're sitting there, even if you have a scattered brain or racing thoughts, that's the time to just jot down,
right.
and just journal out and write out whatever's going on in your head. That's still a moment to connect with yourself.
So how do you feel about journaling since you segue into that? Like,
Yeah.
there's some people who are like, I don't want to write down my thoughts. I don't want to
Mhm.
read back what
Mhm.
it is. I definitely I love journaling. I love seeing my growth and seeing kind
Mhm.
of like where I started to where I am. Even sometimes the prayers that I prayed for and having to
Mhm.
go back and think about like, oh, I did ask God for that. And it
Yep. Yep.
it worked. So how do you feel
Yep.
about journaling?
I think I love journaling. I feel like it's therapeutic. I know sometimes people are like, well, I don't know what to write. Or so they have the journals where it's prompts, where it's questions
Mm-hmm.
that will kind of prompt your thoughts. And then you can freely write. I'm a huge manifester. So I believe if I write it down clearly, and kind of meditate on that writing, then it will come.
Yeah.
Sort of like with vision boards and things like that. So I think people should find their style of journaling. Do you like prompts? Do you like to write out your thoughts? Do you like to write out your prayers? I know for me in the morning, I journal every morning and I set my intention for the day. That's what I journal out. However, I envision my day looking,
Yeah.
with whatever struggles I'm having and I need strength in that area. If I have something I'm trying to tackle for the day, I just kind of write out my intention for the day. And that's my journaling.
Oh, that's
So,
good.
and maybe somebody will find a style, or maybe you have a mix of styles. Some mornings I do wake up and I'm just like, I don't know what to write. So I have my journal prompt book and I'll just flip through and find something that sparks my brain and write whatever it tells me to write.
Yeah, I have the same thing. So in researching, your business and what you do, I see that you do Reiki. And so I was kind of like, what is that? So can you please explain what is Reiki and how does that go along with what you do in regards to like mental health and emotional wellness?
So Reiki, just for
Oh,
definition, is
Reiki. I'm
just
sorry.
Reiki.
Reiki.
No. People pronounce it a bunch of ways. So I might be saying it wrong. I don't know. I pronounce it Reiki. And what Reiki is, it's an energy modality, an energy treatment modality. So if you're familiar with your chakras, if not, our body is composed of 7 core energy channels, identified as our 7 chakras, and it starts at the crown of your head and goes all the way down to your feet, to your root. So from crown to root.
Okay.
And just things, day-to-day life, stress, anxiety, depression, childhood trauma, physical ailments, all those sort of things get trapped in those channels. And even if people come to therapy and they talk about it, or people like, girl, yeah, I'm over that. I ain't even worried about that. You're verbally saying that, but your body is still energetically holding on to those things.
Wow.
And it will sometimes show up as illness, mental illness, or physical illness. So what Reiki does is it helps to open up those chakras and clear out any of that negative energy. So your energy is supposed to flow. Like it's supposed to flow kind of like waves.
Okay.
But when those channels are blocked, it can get really congested. So that's what Reiki does. It's a energy cleansing. It helps to cleanse out your chakras so that your energy is balanced.
Yeah, that's very, very interesting. I could see how that would correlate that, like things that, trauma that happens to you, like even if your words are saying one thing, that your body is responding in a completely different manner. You just how if you're anxiety ridden, how you have like your blood pressure, or you're in pain, your blood pressure goes up, and your blood work may come back a little bit differently because your white blood cell count is up, just because you may have some type of something's going on the inside. So that's interesting. Maybe we'll have to do a slang self-doubt event and you can do your Reiki, so I can get all my chakras out. So does that include like crystals and stuff like that too? Is that or is that different?
No. So some Reiki practitioners do. I have crystals in my room, in my Reiki room in my office, and it's just more so just to kind of clear out the energy. You will see some Reiki practitioners that do place the crystals on the 7 chakra areas, and that's more of like a chakra balancing sort of session. Some practitioners will use the pendulum and things like that to kind of get in tune where your energy needs healing. But no, I don't use those, so I won't place any crystals or anything on your body, but they are in my space.
Right. So but that's good for you too, because in order for you to be able to help do the soul healing with somebody else, like whatever's going on with us, we have to be clear of all of that as well.
Absolutely.
So that we're able to provide the best help as possible. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'm always leery of healers that aren't seeking their own healing. I'm leery of that.
Yeah, that's true. I think that ultimately, like, you have to be healed, even in this, like, even in what I'm doing. Like, this is therapeutic for me, doing the podcast and just kind of creating my own journey. But I've been able to coach or consult other women who are been in different stages of life. But because of the fact that I'm very self-aware about certain things, that I'm able to see it. It may, at the end of the day, like however it manifests in your life may be different from mine, but it ultimately pretty much boils down to the exact same thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that if I'm able to see that, then I can say this is my experience, but how they deal with it, how they work through it is just a little bit different for me. So one of the things that this month is, and it's a National Depression Awareness Month, which I think is very interesting because it's right before the holidays, and everybody always knows that you hear a lot of people say that, this is a time where people tend to automatically just kind of get into a depressive state, whether or not it's because they lost someone, whether or not they, they're not having a hot girl, hot boy summer no more, and now they don't have nobody to bun up with in the wintertime. There's different reasons behind it. What are the signs of depression? What are the signs of depression, and do they show up? Are you able to see it in yourself the same, like see in others the same way you're able to see it in yourself, if that makes sense?
It's a good question. And I'm glad you brought up this season. And there's actually a disorder, seasonal affect disorder,
Oh, wow.
which is it used to be called seasonal depression. Like that's the name for it, but the proper name is seasonal affect disorder. And it's about to kind of pop off around this time, and it leads up until around that February, March season. So around this time, you do see a lot more people showing symptoms of depression, especially in this region, because we experience the cold weather.
Oh,
So
yeah.
those symptoms are very common. And you asked about signs and symptoms of depression. The first one is withdrawal. If you notice people are pulling away, isolating themselves, that's a good sign. As far as within yourself, other people may not see your crying spells, but crying spells.
Okay.
If you find yourself not having interest in things that used to interest you, your favorite hobbies or interests, and you're no longer wanting to engage in those things, that's a sign. Sometimes people's appetite will change, whether that's an increased appetite or decrease in appetite. So that's something you can kind of notice within yourself. But the thing about depression, it's easy to hide. So somebody can be suffering from depression and you won't even know. So really being in tune with your friends, your loved ones, and noticing if any of their behaviors are shifting. Are they staying in more? Are they saying no to outings more frequently? Have you ever had that with a good girlfriend? It's like, girl, I keep inviting you out
Right,
and
yeah, you ain't
you
trying
don't
to go
want to go
nowhere. What's
nowhere.
wrong with
Yeah,
you? Right,
and
yeah.
that's a good question. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
A good time to check in. Sometimes we go, oh, well, I guess she don't want to go. I'm not going to
Right.
invite her no more. I didn't invited her 2 times and she said
Right.
no. But that good girlfriend could really be going through something.
Right,
So
right.
that's a good external symptom to see within your friends and family, as far as symptoms of depression.
So what about your strong friend? Like
Mm.
I saw a meme the other day that said like
Mm-hmm.
check on your strong friend. And recently I had a really close friend who lost one of her line sisters this month actually to suicide. And when she just kind of described like her life, like one of the biggest things that they all said was just like nobody knew. She was, living her life as, quote unquote normal as possible. And so the question is that you just said it, like it's very easy for people to hide, but what do you do about the strong friend who is like necessarily pretending like everything is okay, but it's really not?
But it's really not. I think the fact that you would even categorize your friend as a strong friend is enough to tell you need to check on her.
Okay.
Like, what does it mean to be strong? Like, that's a heavy title. Like, that's a big badge to carry. Like, I'm the strong friend, and then
Right.
you're the strong friend.
Yeah.
So then you don't want to disappoint your other friend, so you're carrying her. That's a heavy title. So I would say if anybody has boxed any of their friends in the category of strong friend, please go check on her.
Right.
And just to share something personal about me, I hope that's appropriate.
Yes, we are very
Okay,
transparent on this
good,
show.
good, good. I feel like I don't have many friends, but with the friends I got, I feel like maybe they have categorized me as a strong friend. And maybe I have
Mm,
worn that title in the past with pride. And after having my daughter, she's 2 now, but after having her, I had a very traumatic labor and delivery. For those that know, I was in the hospital for a week. I almost
mm,
died. She could have died. It was very traumatic. I had a very traumatic labor and delivery, but we were able to
wow.
make it home safely. And I suffer from postpartum anxiety.
Mm,
Nobody knew.
right. Yeah.
Nobody other than my husband, because he was there seeing me freak out and have panic
Right.
attacks. And for people who really know me, my daughter don't go nowhere but my parents and grandparents' house. Like
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still battling that. That's still our separation that
Yeah.
that I go through. And we had a very traumatic experience with her childhood. I mean, with her first daycare provider. It was just a mess. So my postpartum anxiety went off the chain. And if any of my friends are hearing this, this is probably for some of them the very first time they have ever
Wow.
heard this,
Yeah. Yeah.
because when you put somebody in the box of strong friend, and you may hear, oh, they went through that, oh well, that's a strong friend, she gonna
Yeah.
get
So she
through,
got it. She
she
got
can
it.
push through all everything else,
Yeah. Right.
a week in the hospital,
On
labor and
top of the
delivery.
fact that you're a mental health provider. So they
Oh
assume
please,
that,
let's not get into that,
they
because
assume, oh,
therapists don't
she
have
can
issues,
therapy, she
right?
can therapy herself. That's what she can do. She can fix herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I battled that alone with just my husband and I was able to get through it, and I got into my own therapy and did my own work and things like that. But
Yeah.
the fact that you put a friend in the box of strong friend is even more the reason
Yeah.
why. Because not to put labels, but the weak friend, you know what's going on with the weak
Right, right,
friend.
right, right.
That's
Yeah.
the friend that's telling you everything. Girl, child, this,
Yeah.
girl, you know everything.
Yeah.
But it's that strong friend that's always concerned about how the other friend's doing. Girl, what's going on with you?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, but the strong friend never well, I'm not gonna say never. The strong friend doesn't always hear, this is going on with me, and strong friend, how you doing?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
more so da 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 da
Right.
da
You're
da da
just
da,
you're
and you're soaking
receiving.
it in, but
Yeah.
don't nobody
Yeah.
turn around and say, okay, strong friend, your turn. How you
Right.
doing? Because they just assume
Assume that you
you're
okay.
doing well,
So then I have a question. Then
Yeah.
as the strong friend, because I think that people can go through periods of times when they are.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is like, because if I had to think about it, I probably assume that most of my friends will probably think that I'm the strong friend
Mm-hmm.
in most cases. And I don't think it's necessarily because I'm good at compartmentalizing my
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah.
So depending, like I remember being at work and the girls I used to work with, they would be like, you probably don't ever cry and this, that, and the third. And I'd be like, first of all, we're at work. Like
Uh-huh.
I'm at work. Like this is not what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
But second of all, like I can manage my emotions, appropriately, that it doesn't require me to kind of be wherever. But what I have learned probably over the last couple of years is that yeah, I'm not as strong as I thought I was. And when
Mm.
the times come that I really need to, even if I just need somebody to pray for me, I may not need a
Mhm.
whole lot of like, you ain't got to hold me. I don't want to talk through it and all of that other stuff.
Mhm.
However, I just need somebody else to know, like, today's not a good day,
Mhm.
and just can you
Mhm.
just pray for my emotional well being? So, how do you, as the strong friend, like, ask for help? Because
Mhm.
that may be something that's difficult. Like, you don't want to look weak because now
Mhm.
the last
Mhm.
15 years you've been the person that
Mhm.
everybody has relied on to be able to give the advice and to be able to give you some wisdom, but they don't, they not, and it's not intentional that they're
Of
not
course
giving
not.
it to
Yeah,
you
yeah,
in
yeah,
return.
yeah.
But how do we ask for help?
You know, that is a really good question, and I would say for me, it kind of goes back to that self-care thing, that cutting, saying no to certain commitments,
Mm-hmm.
taking time for you. With being a strong friend, you feel like you got to show up for everybody,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and maybe this is a moment where I don't want to be present.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I got other
Right.
stuff going on, and
Right.
maybe if you asked me how I was doing, you would know.
Right.
But since you
Exactly.
didn't, I'm just gonna not
I'm just
go,
gonna say no.
so I can stay home and take care of me. But with that, I think it takes a lot of vulnerability to ask for help and to come out and say, hey, I know you didn't ask, but I'm gonna tell you, today is not a good day,
Right.
you know, and
Yeah.
that's a good boundary, because sometimes your phone will ring and you'll see the name and you already know what's about to come when you answer that
Yes.
phone. And just the mere fact of today is not the day, I'm not even gonna pick up, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
So, in the opposite version of that, right,
mhm,
we've all probably had a friend who's draining, right?
mhm, mhm.
So, how do you, in your emotional well-being and
Yeah.
knowing that you may have someone who is draining you, how do you differentiate whether or not that person is being just regular or if it's
Uh-huh.
actually something, something really going on? You know what I'm saying? Like, you may have somebody, like, I know I had a girlfriend years ago who
Mhm,
just would just always complain about her boyfriend, and just
mhm.
I was just like, I can't, like, I literally couldn't hear it anymore,
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
feel like I'm advised out, like I got nothing else to
Mm,
give, and
mhm,
we're in the same spot. So,
mhm.
what do you do? And I feel like that after that happened, like, our friendship kind of like dwindled, because I just was like, nah, I'm not gonna do it. But had she really needed me, I would have second guessed whether or not it was something that, you know what I'm saying, like, that was
Mhm,
serious. I would have just
mhm.
been like, okay. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like my response is, I have two responses. My first response, the first thing that came to my mind is kind of taking that friend in doses and kind of going back to your cup, because you already
Mm,
know how this friend is. You already know the energy that she is going to pull from you. So if you're not in a place of overflow, then you may not want to engage,
yeah, that's a
because
good
you already
point.
know they're going to just kind of suck the life out of you.
Right.
And my second response would be to refer them to therapy. I feel like, sometimes we rely on our friends and family to be our therapists, and
Mm,
they're really not.
right. Yeah,
Like, there are
that's very true.
professionals out here that are here to help you process through your thoughts and get through your different struggles. And it's not a good girlfriend.
Yeah.
So probably because I'm a therapist, I'm always advocating therapy to all of my friends and all of my family. It's
Yeah.
okay if you want to, chit chat at happy hour, but when it starts to be the same thing over and over, or the
Mhm.
conversation is really intense, though I am a therapist, I'm not your therapist.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I need
exactly.
to refer you to go
And if you
talk
want me
to a
to, you need to make an
professional.
appointment. So you can pay me my coin all
You
at the
so
same time.
silly.
But no, because I think that a lot of times people just assume that, oh, they have it all together, so they may have all the answers. And your, situation being as though that you're a therapist, they're just like, oh, well, you could just tell me,
Yeah.
some advice.
Mhm.
And that doesn't, because depending on how deep you go, requires a different type
It
of
does.
therapy. And we can't do that at
We
Jaspers. That's
can't.
not gonna
No,
work.
we
No,
can't do
we can't.
it. And we actually can't even serve as friends and family.
Oh, right. Oh, I didn't know that.
Nope.
Really? Oh,
Mm-mm.
wow. Well,
It
I
is
guess that makes sense.
unethical.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's a conflict of interest. Yeah, I can see.
it
I can see
is.
that being the case.
Yeah.
So, one of the last questions I had, well, like I said, I think I have two more.
No, no, take your
What
time.
is so? So you're in a situation where you have somebody who comes to you. They
Mhm.
are telling you that they're not doing well. They're
Mhm.
not. In a good place, or you just notice that that person is, like, you checked on your friend and you're like, okay, something is not right, you're
Mhm.
withdrawn, these things are
Mhm.
happening. How do you help your friend get help, whether they want it or not? Because the person who wants it will probably take their advice, okay, sure, I'm gonna go
Mhm.
ahead and call.
Mhm.
But for the person who is like, no, I'm okay, I'll figure it out, but
Mhm.
that they've been in that place for too long,
Mhm.
um what do you do to get those people help?
Good question. So the thing is, if they are not threatening harm to themselves or others, their mental health is almost, it's on them. If you
Mm,
hear that they're threatening to take their life, or they're threatening to harm somebody or take somebody else's life, you can actually call the non-emergency line
oh,
and
okay.
let them know
Mhm.
that your friend or family member is expressing those things, and they will actually send somebody out to get them. And at that
Mm,
at that point, it will be kind of against their own will. They'll be taken to a hospital to get a psych eval,
right.
and then later see how that goes. But for the person who is not, but you're just kind of seeing some symptoms, some withdrawal and isolation and things like that, I would just say encourage them. I think a lot of people, especially in our community, it's just the stigma around mental health, and if somebody know I'm going to see a therapist, they're going to think
Right.
I'm crazy and blah 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 blah. A lot of people don't know the resources.
That's true.
So a lot of our clients that we service at Core Empowerment don't pay anything. That's not to
Mm-hmm.
say that we don't get paid, but they don't pay
Right.
anything out of pocket due to their insurance.
Yeah.
So I always advise people, call that number on the back of your insurance card.
Mm-hmm.
Let that representative that picks up the phone hear what you're going through. They will give you a list of resources
Yeah.
in your zip code
Yep.
that take your insurance that you can go and see. But a lot of people don't know that. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, do I have to pay for this out of pocket? I don't know where to go. You literally call the number on the back of your card, give them your zip code. They will give you a list of providers right in your community that you can see. So I would just say encourage that person. Let them know, you're coming from a very non-judgmental space, but you
Mm.
really care about their well-being. A lot of people are afraid to be judged.
Yeah.
What will people say? What does this mean? A question I always get is, are you going to tell my job? Can my job call and, can my job see my record? And it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
no, we are legally not allowed
Right. To
to.
give them that information.
No, we cannot. And
Yeah.
honestly, if somebody's job or family, whoever was to call, we can't even confirm or deny that they are even a client.
Right. Yeah.
Just the mere, oh yeah, I see them right here on the schedule.
Yeah.
That's a breach of
Right.
confidentiality.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so we can't even confirm or deny. So just really encouraging that friend or family member that there are resources there that are out there, and some of them are probably free if they just
Yeah.
access, what
I've
they
been
have.
recently recommending people to use their EPA
Yeah.
because I used it when I was thinking about transitioning out of my career into entrepreneurship. My brain was just all over the place. And
Mhm.
so I looked it up online for the organization I work for. And I was like, oh, let me just see. And I literally worked with a coach for probably like 8 months. We had a call every week. And, it wasn't I wanted to take her with me. So I ended up like, I was like, can I take you when I leave? And so she's like, well, no, because then one, I haven't done my job if you still need me, but I still check. Like I ended up calling my husband's EPA and was like,
Mhm.
can you look this name up to see? But they didn't have coaching. They only had
Okay.
therapists. And
Mhm.
so I just was like, oh, okay. They was like, they give you 5 free. And then if they
Yep.
need more, they will then transfer your kid to someone in your area. And so
Mhm.
I've been telling a lot of people, like, I mean, one, EPA has tons of different things that you probably don't know of,
Yes.
but they definitely do help you with that because lots of people get depressed at work. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not all,
Mhm.
home life. It's a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
stress and anxiety comes from people's jobs. So,
People's jobs during that
um,
government shutdown, we had a skyrocket
I'm
in
sure.
referrals.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up EAP because we work with an EAP company. I feel like we get a lot of EAPs from the federal government and the school system. And the good thing about EAP is you're right. They normally only grant somewhere between 3 to 8 sessions for
Yeah.
free.
Mm-hmm.
If we assess the case and outside of what they granted, we feel like we need more, we can go back to the EAP and request more appointments. Or what a lot of our clients will do is come to us to get the free EAP sessions, and then just come to us as a full client and utilize their insurance
Yeah. Yeah.
for ongoing services. So that is a really good resource that probably a lot of people don't even
Yeah,
know
and it
their
definitely
job
is free
offers.
off
Yep.
the break. It's definitely free.
Mhm.
So one of the other questions I had, I know we talked a lot about women, and
Mhm.
most of this is just because our own experience. We think about
Yeah.
our girlfriends or whatever. But for the men, there are
Mhm.
a lot of, and especially in our community, in the Black culture, that there are more and more men who are suffering from depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, just not being able to deal with their emotions
Mhm.
from childhood, from whatever the case may be. It's just a whole lot of different things. As wives, girlfriends,
Mhm.
moms, aunties, whatever relationship that we have with men, if we notice there any signs, how can we be a support to them, because I feel like women are more inclined to be like, girl,
Mhm.
I'm gonna just go try. A
Yeah.
man is more likely, I'm all right, I just need to go to the bar or
Mhm.
whatever the case may
Mhm.
be. Like, how
Mhm.
do we support them to be able to get help?
You know, I feel like it goes back to that stigma. Not only is mental health, there's a big mental health on stigma, there's a big stigma on Black men and mental
Yeah.
health. So I would like if more Black men who were in therapy, or men in general in therapy, would speak up. I know Charlemagne on the Breakfast Club is never shy
Right. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
speak about his journey and him being in therapy and things like that, but just encouraging them that it's okay. I think, I don't know what the podcast you mentioned, Stop Crying Like a Girl,
Yeah.
was
Stop
it?
crying like a girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like it starts there. Like, it
Yeah.
starts in childhood. We already shut our men down to not
Mm-hmm.
express yourself.
Yeah.
You know, as a young age, you don't know how society views you. You feeling emotional, you're gonna cry as a little boy.
Right. Yeah.
But we tell you to stop crying, be quiet, stop, go sit
Yeah.
down. So already we're conditioning men to not express, to not
Yeah. And
talk.
that was basically what the episode was about, because
Mhm.
I realized, one of my sons plays football. And so
Mhm.
he came home and told me that one of and I know it because I've
Mhm.
heard people say it, and ultimately they say it because they've heard somebody else say it. And so then I'm
Mhm.
like, how do I make it different for my kids so that they don't go into this world thinking that they can't have any feelings, they can't have
Mhm.
any emotions? Because somebody's going to make you mad. You're going to be disappointed. If
Mhm.
somebody passes away, you're going to feel sadness. You're going to grieve. Like,
Mhm.
if you can, my thing is always like, if you can have happy emotions, you can have sad emotions.
Yeah.
Why have
Yeah.
them turn off one, but allow them to be able to keep the other? Like,
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
me, I just don't understand it. But I definitely believe that if we start talking about it, and this is
Yeah.
why one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation, like, if we start talking about it so that people know that, like, it's okay. It's even
Mhm.
okay for us to, like, we don't have to be the strong friend anymore, right? We don't
I'm
have
sure
to
not. I gave that title up a minute
quit.
ago.
But we don't, it's okay for us to be sad. It's okay for us
Yeah.
to be, in a mood. I think one of the biggest things is just communication, like, with the
Mhm.
people, your village and the people that you are around. When you communicate where you are and what's
Mhm.
going on with you, then I think that allows for people to be able to pour into you, but also
Yeah.
know, like, okay, maybe they need a little bit more support
Mhm.
on their
Mhm.
end. Like, last week was a really, really tough week for me because my best friend from high school passed away like 7 years
Sorry to hear
ago.
that. Mhm.
Thanks. And her birthday was Saturday. And
Okay.
so I felt like there was like no closure. Like, it was just like it kind
Mhm.
of happened. And I just kind of like was like, meh. But
Mhm.
every year since she's passed, I always feel the same way. And so I told my girlfriends, they're like, normally we go out, we drink or something like that. Like, we do
Mhm.
something to celebrate her, but I'm fasting right now from
Mhm.
alcohol. And so I said, Jesus, you are so funny, because
Mhm.
now I have to like feel every emotion. And so I needed to actually go. I went to her gravesite and I
Mhm.
just sat there. I talked to her. I cried. I, went through my whole emotion, and I felt better when I was done with it. But leading up to that, I told my husband, like,
Mhm.
this is not going to be a good week. And as I was on my way to the gravesite, I reached out to my village and said, just kind of pray for me. Even though it was only for a moment, like, but
Mhm.
it felt like even like driving there, like, I felt like I was getting ready to have an anxiety attack. And I was just like, I just got
Yeah.
to get through it. And once I got through it, I was fine.
Mhm.
And I think
Mhm.
sometimes we stop just at the feeling, like that pressure
Yep.
of like, I can't breathe. And then you just be like,
Mhm.
I'm not going to go no further. But sometimes if you walk through it, you're able to get to the other side and realize I didn't die. It's
Yep.
not that
Yep.
it is
Yep.
really isn't that bad.
And
Uh,
that's also the glory of therapy as well. A lot of people are kind of shut down about going to therapy because they don't want to feel, because they know, well, they have the thought or the expectation of, I'm gonna have to talk about some stuff,
Right. Yes.
some stuff that I didn't suppress, and
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of blow away throughout my day. Like, I'm gonna have to really sit here and talk about
Right.
this,
And
and
deal
it
with
might
it.
hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for a lot of people, it's like, look, I don't even want to deal with that. I'm just gonna keep trucking on through life. But now, how is that showing up in your life?
Right. That absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. And I think that once we realize that if the goal is to be better than you were yesterday, you have to do different things. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect better results. It just never works. Like, I've been trying to lose this baby weight. My son about to be 10. I've been trying to lose these 20 pounds for the last 10 years. Guess what? I have not done anything different. Nothing different. So it's just going to stay until I'm ready to like take it seriously and really like work on it. But one health thing at a time. Okay. One thing at a time.
I'm with you.
So, are you all, I know after this, I'm gonna have some people that are in the area who are going to want to reach out and maybe want to, make an appointment. Are you all taking new appointments? Where are you located in the DMV?
So we are in Suitland, Maryland. We are on Allentown Road. We're directly across the street from Andrews Air Force Base, like literally direct, like walking distance. Somebody actually walked off the base and walked to our office today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, like that's how close we are to the Air Force Base.
You're by the credit union?
Yep, you can walk to the credit union.
Yeah, 5801.
We're at 5627.
5627.
Okay, we're right between the Horse and Dickies and the credit union.
It's a Horse and Dickies over
there? Walking distance.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
So, yeah, we're right there. And we're always accepting new clients. So on our website, if you go to our website, coreempowerment.org, and at the top right-hand corner is a button that says Contact Us. And there is a new client referral form. So if anybody is interested in services, that's where you would start. And then our office manager receives those referrals, receives those intakes, and reaches out within 24 business hours to schedule your appointment. And we do take most of the major insurance companies. So we take Care First, Cigna, TRICARE, Aetna, Maryland Medicaid. We're still battling with United Healthcare now to get on panel with them. Yeah, I know. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, but that's, the healthcare is my background. United Healthcare has always
they're giving us a little fight.
That's just how they are.
So,
it's okay.
So we're always accepting new clients. And the good thing about our office is that we're open 7 days a week. So
nice.
We're open on Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, nice.
And then on the weekdays, we're open late. We take our last appointment at 8:00 p.m. on the weekdays. So our goal is to be able to meet the needs of everybody. And with therapy, you're going to want to come every week.
Yeah.
If not every other week.
Okay.
And we understand that, we service some working class folks that got 9 to 5s.
Right.
And children and lives and stuff after work. So we want to be able to meet those needs. So we, again, are open on Saturdays and Sundays. And on the weekdays, we take our last appointment at 8 p.m. So your appointment can actually start at 8 p.m. That's the last.
That's awesome. Do you all do any virtual appointments?
Yes,
that's the new craze now.
So a lot of our clients have never even physically walked into our office.
Okay.
I see a lot of clients virtually now because I'm not so much in the physical office of seeing clients. So some clients, I've never seen them from the chest up. Like, that's all. I've only seen from here to here.
Right.
I don't know what nothing else look like. So yes, we do have virtual sessions. And a lot of insurance companies, minus Maryland Medicaid, pretty much all of the insurance companies do cover telemental health.
Yeah.
So, and I love that because kind of people will bow out during their lunch break or go in their car and they can connect from their phone or wherever they are.
Yeah.
So they don't have to physically come in. And we have people that are in like Montgomery County and things. So trying to get to our office after work. And
that 495 traffic is a beast. Yes.
So a lot of people will see during lunch break or they'll head home and we'll connect with them virtually while they're home.
That's a great thing, even for my listeners who don't live in the DMV.
Yeah.
If they, sometimes people are afraid to go to places nearby in their hometown because they're, what if someone sees me, so this may be an option as well. And the
Mhm.
little telehealth televisits are bomb
Yes.
diggity, because one of my physicians does that, and I would just be like, oh, I'm right here, I don't have to leave,
Mhm.
where I'm
It's
at
so
to be able.
convenient.
It is,
You save on gas.
yes, it is.
Like,
And you still get exactly what you
you
need,
do.
and I think it depends on the person, because some people may want that one-on-one, like sit down in front of
Mhm.
somebody, but
Some
it
people
also,
do prefer that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, but it also gives the person who's like, okay, I need this, but I do not have the capacity to be able to like leave where I am,
Mhm.
to be able to get it done. And it also helps the person who is afraid of doing it. And so
Yep.
this keeps it, between you and them and their phone,
Mhm.
and that's about it,
Mhm. Yep.
So
And we
that's a
like to
great
try
thing.
to you like to try to disperse any barriers, like, oh, I can't come because of this. Nope, we got weekend
Right.
appointments. Oh, well, what about this? Nope, we open till 8. Well, what
Right.
about that? Nope, you can hit you up on video chat.
Right,
Like,
right,
there
right.
is no excuse. Well, I can't afford it. Don't you got insurance? We take
Right.
that insurance. So it's really
There's no reason
no
why you
way.
can't take
Nope.
care of yourself.
It is no reason. No
That
reason
is
at all.
awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you
Yes,
taking the
absolutely. Thank you for
time.
having me.
Oh yeah, this is going to be, I'm definitely excited about it. I will put the link to your website in the show notes,
Okay.
so that everybody can go to Core Empowerment, and just get some additional information. I definitely think that this is a conversation that may need to go into next month, the month after that, and the month after that. So I think that it's such a
Yeah,
great thing, and
yeah,
I really appreciate
seriously.
you taking the time to be able to just like, break down those things that I definitely was thinking, and I know probably some other people were thinking as well. So thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
All right, y'all, that's all for this week. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, subscribe, rate, and review. Remember to head over to Facebook and Instagram and follow me at Slaying Self Doubt. Oh, wait, don't forget, go to my YouTube channel and watch this episode, and remember to press the subscribe button. Until next week, see ya.